Welcome back to Politics Nation. This week we saw President Trump's purge of the federal government ensnare the Department of Education, where thousands of employees were offered the administration's buyout and where House Democrats were literally barred from entering the building in protest as Elon Musk's Doge committee rummages through department emails and Trump preps an executive order to shutter the agency entirely. The chaos and confusion is threatening America's most valuable resource, the minds of our young people. That's why we've convened another Civil Rights Summit to talk about it. Joining me now is former Secretary of Education under President Obama, Arne Duncan, President of the American Federation of Teachers, Randi Weingarten, and the President of Morehouse College and HBCU, David Thomas. Starting with you, Mr. Duncan, the President is reportedly preparing an executive order to drastically reduce, if not dissolve, the Department of Education. It will require congressional approval, of course. But you already have Elon Musk's Doge team looking for places to make cuts, and thousands of education department employees were offered this week's buyout. You ran the department for a record 7 years under former President Obama. You and I worked together during that time. You know what it does for students and educators. What are the most immediate outcomes you can imagine if the department is reduced, if not dissolved?
Well, it's just a really scary and dangerous time. And my former colleagues there, the career public servants, are absolutely terrified. I'm actually going to D.C. later this week. I'll be on Wednesday to try and talk to some. But I'll just tell you this, Reverend Sharpton. Every Saturday for months when I went to D.C., I would meet with that career staff for a couple hours and just hear what's worked historically, what hasn't worked. Sometimes they tell me I have good ideas. Other times they tell me I have terrible ideas. I listen very, very closely to their advice. They are smart, they're committed, they've seen it all, they know what works and what doesn't. And to deprive yourself from that knowledge, from that historical information, is just literally crazy to me, despite the human cost. And offering to pay people not to work is the ultimate sort of a waste. But these are people who make us better, who make the country better. We have to unite and educate our way to a better economy. And whether it's laying off folks, whether it's dismantling the department, there's going to be a tremendous amount of damage done. And I always say that's the goal. That's the intent. The intent is to disrupt, to dismantle public education.
Randi, in the past, I've worked on education matters with presidents and public officials from the other side of the aisle, like George W. Bush and Newt Gingrich, and I've worked together with Arne. But I've also, in the last few years, protested states like Florida, where DEI became the latest boogeyman on the right. Conservatives were using critical race theory as an excuse to remove Black history and LGBTQ plus content from state schools. Now that push has been expanded at the federal level under Trump. How is it impacting teachers nationwide?
Well, first, let me say three things. Number one, what they're looking for is the money, and what they're looking to do is try to drive acts through opportunity. So, of course, it's going to affect teachers, but let me talk about the money for a second. There are 26 million kids who get direct services from Title I. That on Monday, they will get a reading specialist to help with literacy because of Title I. Other kinds of services as well, like computer services. There's 7.5 million kids who get things like PT and OT because they're kids with disabilities. There's 13 million kids who get Pell Grants to go to college. I can go on and on. That's number one. Number two, under Arne's leadership, 45 million people now get their student debt paid for or done or use or work through the Department of Education. Elon Musk and his cronies have looked at all of that information, all the kids who have filed financial aid to go to college, all the people who are actually have student debt, How dare he take people's personal information like that? That's not for the government to do. If a bank had that kind of cyber hack where 45 million people had been affected, what do you think would happen in this country? So what they're doing is they are actually taking people's personal information, and they're trying to get rid of services for the poor, for disabled, for first-year college, first-generation college students. For what? To go for tax cuts for Elon Musk and for Donald Trump's friends?
David,
this is taking opportunity.
David, let me bring this to you then. We saw the alarm last month from historically black college presidents over the impact that even Trump's temporary federal aid freeze had on their schools. Prior to that, many HBCUs in southern states were already dealing with anti-diversity measures from state governments. Now you have Trump's war on diversity, which has jeopardized black colleges' ability to actually teach black history as schools scramble to comply with the president's executive orders banning DEI or risking losing federal funding. What has this meant for Morehouse College?
Well, what it's meant for Morehouse College is that we've had to be very clear, and even here in the state of Georgia, where they've had some legislation passed to limit what can be taught under this banner, under this anti-DEI banner. For example, if you are a school that can certify people to teach in the public schools, you're not supposed to teach anything related to DEI or critical race theory. And so we've had to say publicly at Morehouse that we will not change our curriculum because our focus is on developing teachers who in particular will go and teach Black and brown students and students in rural areas. And for us not to equip them to teach all of the truth about American history and the world is to underserve them. It is essentially educational malpractice. And I've gone public to say that. And I think that most of my colleagues who are leaders of historically Black colleges and universities have not gone on a full-scale rampage to rid their curriculums, especially their curriculums that are training educators, to rid it of information that is captured under critical race theory and the banning of books. If you can believe that in some states you can no longer teach Nobel Prize winning Toni Morrison or Maya Angelou, it's pretty incredible. And we must be a point of resistance to that effort to essentially teach untruths or to avoid fully equipping our faculty to fully equip the next generation of citizens to critically evaluate the direction of our country. And that's what happens.
It's unimaginable.
Those topics that are being banned. And I think as we were in the 1960s and 50s with the sit-ins, historically Black colleges are now prepared to be the vanguard of resistance to what I see coming, which is the second Jim Crow. If we think about the direction that all of this is going in, it is a reaction to the progress of people of color and others who have been disenfranchised.
It's a direct reaction to that. Let me go back to you, Arnie. This week, several House Democrats were barred by security from entering the Department of Education building in protest of Elon Musk's DOGE committee examining the agency for budget cuts. We know that members of the DOGE team, some as young as 22 years old, now have top access to department's email accounts, and they're reportedly feeding sensitive information into AI software as they pursue this purge of government workers. What are your thoughts on that?
The whole thing is just insane, Reverend Sharpton, just mind-boggling. We had everybody come meet with us at the Department of Education. It was an open door. People would agree with us. People would disagree. People protested us. You meet with everybody. That's what you do. You talk and listen. To lock people out of the department, to lock out members of Congress, we're in uncharted, in very, very scary times. And let me just sort of cut to the chase. We have a reading crisis in this country. We saw the recent NAEP scores that were far too low. We have to figure out how to accelerate the learning of tens of millions of kids across the country. We have to help them catch up. We can't have a lost generation of kids. Nothing of what President Trump has talked about, nothing is how we help kids learn to read. And we know he lies constantly, he lies incessantly, but every once in a while, he'll give a little bit of truth. I'll never forget when he said, I love the uneducated. Yeah. And he meant that because the uneducated are less able to think critically. They're less able to discern truth and information from disinformation. And when your goal is to be an authoritarian leader, the less educated a nation is, the better your chances. So what's his motive? Randy talked about follow the money. That's exactly right. Follow the power. If he can destroy education, that gives him a much better chance of becoming the kind of authoritarian leader he craves to be, he desires to be.
Randy, even before this purge, the president and his allies repeatedly cast government employees as enemies. How does that disrespect trickle down to public school teachers doing the job right now? And what impact does it have on recruiting women teachers, black teachers, transgender teachers, people whose identities and experience are being targeted by Trump as we speak?
Well, I want to just go back and say, even I just saw some news reports, a lot of teachers, probably about 20% or so, who probably voted for Donald Trump. And when you ask them, you're going to take away Title I when we have a reading crisis. You're going to take away the services we have for kids to help them read, help them do math. What this is that teachers are trying to do everything they can to meet the needs of kids. This just makes it harder. This is what we saw in Florida. This is what we've seen in other places. The culture wars just make it harder. Teachers are going to try to do everything that they can. But this fear of knowledge and this fear of helping all kids and this fear of pluralism, it is, as Arnie says, it is a fear of trying to help all of God's children actually have the opportunity to achieve what they want to. We should not be fearful of the next generation. We should give them the support they need. I'll say one more thing, which is the same month that all of this is happening, Donald Trump put out something about Career Tech Ed Month. And it could have been written by us. If you want to have builders, if you want to have the kind of opportunities and workforce development that we need to have a federal intervention to do this work. And yet, one of the people who are put on leave is the person who's totally in charge of all of the grants that go for Career Tech Ed. So this just seems crazy because it's just undermining even purposes that Donald Trump says he wants. This chaos is the problem. We as community need to band together to fight for our kids and fight for working folks.
David, I want to go back to you. I want to focus on the issue of race. HBCUs have been shaping and preserving the African-American identity in this country since before the Civil War. How is that mission being impacted by a political climate where some of our leaders seem determined to discredit any Black American in a position of authority as a beneficiary of DEI? That's the only reason they're there.
Yeah, I don't see historically Black colleges and universities, at least when I talk to my colleagues who lead these institutions, starting to change our agendas to fit into these edicts that are coming down. There's a lot of anxiety. So, for example, all of the anti-DEI rhetoric, there is some worry that historically Black college and university will come to mean DEI when we've actually been not a DEI strategy, but a strategy for access for those who have been excluded.
Right.
And to represent the America achieving its values around all people are created equal with inalienable rights. That's been our intervention. But we will get, because people will see Black, they will say that anything that benefits our institutions is a DEI intervention.
Yeah, that's the new word. That's the new buzzword they use, which is totally off the mark. Arnie, conservatives have complained for years about having school curriculum imposed on them from the federal government. Now, under Trump, they want to impose rules on how schools across the country teach students about race, gender, and history. What changed?
Well, nothing's changed. Again, just the level of dishonesty and the level of lies. So to be very clear, the federal government is prohibited from touching curriculum. So that has never happened under any Secretary of Education, Republican or Democrat, to date. And Trump talks about small government, but he's actually trying to whitewash history and change and affect curriculum in ways that no one has ever done. And all these things, CRT, DEI, ESL, they just weaponize any three-letter acronym and sell fear. And what I say all the time is that education should be the ultimate bipartisan issue. There's nothing left or right or Republican, Democrat about more kids having access to high-quality pre-K, helping our third graders read at grade level, raising graduation rates, increasing access to college. Those are nation-building goals that we should all share. We might debate about strategies to get there. We can all share those nation-building goals. Trump is trying to destroy the nation. Yeah. He has no goals educationally, and that's the challenge. So I don't want us to get caught in the small ball stuff. This is a direct frontal attack on education, early childhood, K-12, higher ed. He has no interest in having a more educated, a more thoughtful, a more discerning American public. That is not in his interest.
And he's basically said that. Randy, I'll end with you. This Trump administration has made the jobs of teachers seem more precarious than ever. In addition to whatever actual rules may be imposed from above regarding teaching about race, do you worry there will be a chilling effect that leads teachers to censor themselves because they're afraid of a backlash? We're out of time, but I want you to briefly respond.
Yes. I mean, the answer is yes. It already has happened on the state level. We had a RAND report that showed that about 2/3 of teachers already self-censor themselves. So think about what happens. You have to use in a classroom, and Rev, you've seen teachers do this. In a classroom, you have to meet kids where they are, and you have to help open the aperture. Really make sure that they're thinking, that they have agency, that they're engaged. All of this, when you're thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to me if I do this? It chills everything. Knowledge is key to opportunity. As Arnie said, this is a direct attack on knowledge and on our future and on our nation and on our nation building. And that's why I think Republicans, independents, and Democrats alike are going to fight back on this.
All right. I want to thank all of you very much, former Secretary Arnie Duncan, Randi Weingarten, and Dr. David Thomas of Morehouse College.